Hello and welcome again in the second segment of our special episode on elections, local elections in The Hague. When we say about The Hague, there's something very special about it. It's a tale of a city that has two identities. It is the administrative and political heart of the Netherlands. At the same time, this is one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world. Just a few blocks from here, few streets from here, there are diplomats negotiating. There is an international court doing the deliberation, and there are government offices shaping the policies. And whatever is shaped here does not affect just only the Hague, but also the Netherlands and subsequently the EU region. Probably we can say the global policies. Today, to discuss most of your questions, actually we had a little survey and we talked to many people in The Hague what concerns them. Our focus would also be on international residents here in the Hague. As all of you are aware, close to 56% population of the city has international origin. Thus, being there into the fold of the political system matters a lot. As we know, our previous experience suggests that the turnout and the voting has been quite low, close to below 45%, if I'm not mistaken. 43%, yeah, thank you. So this time we are trying to see and figure out with the help of our distinguished panel to see how can we change it, because it matters for integration, for inclusion, for the integrity, and for being an inclusive society. So allow me to introduce our panel today. We have Benjamin Broekhuysen from VVD. Very warm welcome.
Thank you much.
And we have Andrew Vanesh from D66. Welcome,
Hello.
Andrew.
Thank you.
And then we have Koen Boom from Hart for Den Haag.
Nice pronunciation. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of people pronounce it Cohen-Baum.
I had to practice a lot. And yet, I feel apologetic because, it's never been so easy.
No, it's very
And
nice.
last but not least, Martin de Faust.
Oh,
Is it okay?
Wow, well done.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Very warm welcome. We have so many questions, and I think if time permits us, I would like to take some of the questions from our audience as well. So be sure that these are the questions from the residents, and I would really appreciate if you could answer as honestly, as openly as possible, because they have no other way to figure out. So
We always do.
thank you so much. Okay, I would like to start with because given the recent events in The Hague, some people who arrived here earlier, and when they compared, they found that safety has been a concern lately. So I think we have one participant in the audience. I would like to invite Margaret to ask, Roberta, to ask the question. Thank you.
So I've been here 8 years, and I've seen that the city is not as safe as it was when I arrived here. And I also seen that some anti-immigrants speech has increased the violence against foreigners. So I wonder how will us, or will you address this, since I think my daughters are not as safe as they were to come alone by bike at night, not.
Thank you so much, Roberta. I think I would like, I assume that this question is for everybody, right? So who would like to start? Shall we start with you, Andrew?
Oh. That's a very difficult and very large question, of course,
Yes.
security. It has to do with how you feel yourself, and it has to do with all kinds of circumstances, where you live, what you do, how you look. And it's true. I don't feel unsafe, but I'm an older gray guy that was born here, and it's different. But if people tell me that they feel unsafe, then we have to address that. Absolutely. And but there are never any easy solutions to that. But where it starts is to recognize the problem and then to start talking about it, and not to immediately act like more agents or more police or more, we call them, BOAs, whatever.
Well, that's exactly what we should do.
Yeah, that's what you think, I know.
Yeah, I know. That's why we are on this side of the table.
That's why I started it also.
Yeah. Roberta, can I ask, have you experienced this yourself, or is it just a feeling you got?
No, my kids have experienced some
Okay.
experiences, not very,
Some incidents.
Yes, some incidents, and friends also have.
So it's not hypothetical.
No,
it's
it's
a
not.
real,
No. That's exactly what we mean. I think we should address it really quickly, because we have a behavior and discipline problem in this city, and not only in this city, in this country, I think. And the only way we can do something about it is when misconduct has consequences. And now that's not the case. Of course, we had a riot in Scheveningen on May 1st. And that was really it was like a war zone. It was really terrifying. We have a guy who's a press photographer. He was in the middle of the, let's say the epicentrum it was right in the middle of the riots. And he said it was so scary. It was like the police was going, we can't hold it. And that's really terrifying. And nothing has done about it, because there were only like 12 arrests or something. So if we don't address this properly, we're going to lose the fight.
Martin, I see you raising hand. Yeah.
I think there were two parts in the question. And the first part was about the safety of women and young girls, especially at night. And we do think that's one of the three things that we as GroenLinks PvdA, the Green Labour Party, that we indeed think should have full attention. And that's also about public space. How do you make the public space? Is there enough light? Is there enough sight? And also, aren't there places where you expect something might happen? So that's that part. But there was also the part about being a migrant, no matter where you're from, in this city. And then if Koen is telling about the riots in Scheveningen, then his party and other parties on the right will immediately point to the influx of migrants and that being a part of the problem.
Have you seen the origin?
You see, that's what he says.
Yeah.
And that's also where that second part of your question is also coming from. We see for the last 30 years in the Netherlands, we used to be this cosmopolitan, international, tolerant country, and we see that the last 30 years there has been a real backlash on that end. And that comes back in these kind of things. I've been coaching basketball in this city, and basketball is not a big sport here, which means that we have a real international teams. Always had. Last ladies team I had 14 different flags with only 12 girls. 12 ladies, sorry, they were adults. And the same is happening now. And I saw the backlash they had. I saw the backlash of, there was another team, girls of 17, 18, being told, go back to your country, etc. It is changing. It is changing, especially under the young people, it is changing. And I'm really positive about that part. But it's also, if there's a riot, there's a riot. If it's right-wing scum on Malieveld that's destroying police vans, that shouldn't happen. If it's other people doing it on Scheveningen, if it's young people on Scheveningen, it shouldn't happen. But we shouldn't bring in that migrant part, because it's most of the times about socioeconomic or just culture parts. So
okay,
that's
Benjamin, what do you think?
I agree that there's sort of a twofold problem here. One is how we design public spaces to make sure that people feel safe there. That includes lighting, it includes eyes on the street. It can also include cameras, and it can every once in a while. So I think that's one part. The other part is, I think, why do you do this? And I think that is the really vital part, is that you should be able to feel safe on the street, no matter who you are, whether you were born here, whether you moved here, whether you're gay, straight, whether you're a man or a woman. You should be able to walk safely on the streets at night, at daytime. You should just know that is taken care of, and that's something that the municipality definitely has to do.
Well, what makes it difficult is it also has to do with our how we communicate these days and how we think. I mean, I was one of the ladies that an older lady. I know her quite well. She said, "What happened?" She was very upset. Because she said, you know what happened? There was a driver, and I made some kind of remark because he was, trying to almost cut my bike or go in front of me. And he opened the window and he said and she was a very older woman, and said in Dutch some terrible words. And I don't know, but she said to me that never happened. And it is because of the internet and the way that we communicate with each other that it's very easy to just do whatever you want and say whatever you like. And of course you have to correct it, but it's not like getting more police. It also has to do with education. It also has to do with how do we communicate with each other and to realize itself. There is a short-term reaction to it, but there is also a long-term solution. And that has to do with the fact that we should address the issue that we are being lesser nice to each other and easy in communication than we were before. And it's in a lot of, and it also starts with politicians. I mean, we're very kind to each other, but there are also places where people, use different kind of words and different kind of sense and put away people, and that's not the way. Then it becomes normal.
Oh, that's absolutely true. The behavior, like I said, is the problem, first of all. But it should have consequences when you misbehave.
Absolutely.
And looking away, like Martin is doing, is not the way to do it, because you can you can address the problems and be honest about it. Because the guys who were doing that were from a certain origin, and I'm not happy to say that, but it was what it is. Yeah. And if you do not address it and you're looking away, I don't care who did it or something like that. No, we have to be honest about what's happening. We have to do something about it, and that's a very difficult task. So don't get me wrong. It's not like we're going to. We want 200 extra. How do you say handhavers? I can't find the word. But 2 extra. No agents. Agents we like as well, but that's a national decision. But just I can't find the word. Enforcers. Yeah, enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
So we'd like to double the amount we have now, because we have 200 and we'd like 400, and we made money for that in our program. And that's not only as a punishment, but also to prevent things from happening. If people see.
Well, it was funny, because I spoke with a French lady. A French man. He said, there's so much police when I go to the beach, to Scheveningen. And I feel uncomfortable with the fact there is so much, like a sort of an army atmosphere. Yeah. So there is a fine line on that, because on certain days you don't need it. You don't need it. And of course we would like to have the police to be present, any instance, and that's not always possible because we don't have enough. I hope they will better organize it.
Too much into that specific subject. I think this is also one of those things where you sort of have to really be smart about, like, sort of noticing when groups are gathering, when there's trouble afoot, the sort of thing. Then you need to be there. You need to be there quickly.
Well, we have so many more questions, so I would like to actually cover wider. Do you want to give a quick reflection?
There's one thing you mentioned already, I think, a couple of times today, that 53% of this city has origins in abroad. Yeah. And that's not all first generation. That's also second generation. Yeah. So me and my boys, we count. We are part of a very small minority called the Belgians.
Okay, I see.
Born there as a Belgian.
Okay.
And
that's
still,
where it started.
That's exactly. That's why it feels so personal. If Koen is saying that they were people from a certain, they weren't there that day. So I mean, at a certain moment, we also have to stop calling them migrants. They're not migrants, and it sounds always as the they, all the right-wing politicians, is about they, and they are not we. And that's not what we as GroenLinks and PvdA would say. They are here, and it doesn't matter where they or their grandparents or their great-parents came from. That doesn't matter anymore. They're from The Hague now.
It doesn't
and
help.
They are our kids. Yeah. If I coach tomorrow my team, I have Bulgarians, Suriname people, Antillean people. I have maybe one Belgian. I have a Sudanese guy. They're my guys, and we are The Hague. And that's what I think is
I think I agree.
And GroenLinks PvdA.
Yeah, though it's not directly related to the politics here, but what you said reminds me of Simone de Beauvoir when she talks about, in her book Second Sex, about the other. When you refer to women as other, that's where the problems get much more serious. So I do understand. But I would like to have just very quick, maybe 20, 30 seconds to reflect. The problem, once you recognize it, what is the solution? What will you do when you are selected? Yeah, go ahead.
We are all already elected at this term, so we...
Okay.
No, so one of the things that, as I said, is that we would go for is making sure that if you redo public space, that you will also take that perspective from social security. And that also means what we have done the last 1.5 years is identify the spots that are felt where people feel the most insecure, and make sure that you try to do them first. So that's what I
Benjamin,
definitely
what about you?
Yeah, so it's design of the public spaces, enough lighting, also making sure enough policing, enough cameras, enough enforcement, making sure that people, if they do go across the line, that they do get punished. I think that's also important.
But as Andrew said, like when you have so much policing at a place which is just for a general public space, does it help better, or just creating or restoring some kind of trust among people?
I'm not saying that we should have policemen on every corner, but
Yeah.
we do need to make sure that police can get there quickly, that people know that if they call the police or if they call enforcement, that action will be taken, that they can trust that something will be done.
Okay, Koen, I would like to come to you.
Yeah, well, I agree that sometimes police is escalating the situation. That's for sure, and sometimes it doesn't help at all. But we do need to keep everybody safe. When I go back to the riots in Scheveningen last year, then entrepreneurs, people on the street, people working in the beach clubs were really unsafe. They were really unsafe. So we had to move there, and the police was simply understaffed. So that's what the problem is. If we look away or we do not address it, Andrew says we don't need it every day, but if it's a hot day in Scheveningen, and you used to live in Scheveningen, and I lived there for 30 years, then I'm afraid every night, at the end of the night, there's a certain tension in the air. And then it helps if you have visible security.
Andrew, you agree?
I agree with that. But you can prevent a lot by understanding. At the same time, you also know that these things happen. You know, when a football team wins, also the Dutch team, and then people think that it's fun to, throw chairs into the window of a shop. I mean, and then you would wish that there would be, but people are like that. So, of course, we need to prevent. We have to accept that sometimes these kind of things happen, because you always have these kind of hooligans in any color of any skin or any background.
Okay.
But if we do not,
the damages are never paid by the guys who commit the foul, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
they should pay.
I'm sorry, because I need to. I'm being a little bit greedy. I have to ask so many other questions. So then we had one more issue coming on the civic engagement, and from the audience, I would like to invite Nuna to come and pose a question.
She had second thoughts.
Second thoughts? No, not available now? No. Okay, well then I would like to invite Matt. He's talking about some cleanliness related issues. So, yeah.
Hello, so I've lived here for a couple of years now. And across the city, there seems to be somewhat of a problem with trash collection. I know it's not just The Hague, but it is something that bothers me. The trash bins are often full, which leads to just more litter, and then people just kind of illegally dumping their trash bags next to the bins, and sometimes the seagulls get in, and it's just, if you have any ideas about how that can be addressed, how the trash system can be improved.
Okay, thank you very much, Matt. I would like to start with Benjamin.
So this is a very important question, because this actually influences a lot like what it's like to live in your neighborhood, because, well, if there's trash everywhere, then you don't feel like you're living in a nice neighborhood. So one of the important things is, like, first of all, a lot of these have sensors, so quite often they're not necessarily full, they're just sort of jammed for a bit. But the thing is, fundamentally, people need to stop placing trash next to the bin, because, well, you can report if the bin is actually full, or if it's broken, you can report that to the municipality. They will clear that up. So that's the one thing. And the second thing is, we actually need to make sure that when people do make the error in judgment to just place it next to the bin, that they actually feel the consequences, so that we find them, so that we make sure that, like, everybody plays their part in keeping our city nice and clean.
Do you take your responsibility as well? If you see somebody else putting it next to the ORAC, or the bin, do you tell them?
Yes, I've done that in the past before.
I do that as well. I do. Sometimes you get a very, very big mouth.
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, but that's what we should train each other also. Yeah, I always get a big mouth. I'll give it myself as well.
No, but I was just thinking.
No, but it's. I mean, we have to educate each other also.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's also that the street was open and then the street was
and you
open
can't
and then
expect,
people
you
stop
know, every time that because I know I live on a nice square, but we have what they call a trash street, the trash alley. So people, you know, when it's full, and then I don't know how many times these things are being, but I know already that Saturday afternoon, the bags are everywhere, and it's a very nice square. So they come and pick it up, but at the same time, I get very, you know, upset when people put it there when I see it, but I don't want to be standing there. So, and you could put cameras there. Or you can put a policeman there, but the policeman can only do something when you put it or put it next to it. Otherwise, you can't.
Yeah,
so we have to educate. We need more communication about it.
What do you do, Martin?
No, you need to catch people red-handed to get the fine, and that doesn't really work. I think Benjamin is pointing out a couple of things. The irony is where we came from. We only had. I'm not sure in which area you're living. You do have the underground. Yes. Containers. Sorry. It's not. They're full or okay. That's interesting because they do have a sensor, and when technical, and then I will go back to the main topic. If they're for 70% full, good. Stop messing me. Sorry. If they're 70% full, then already the truck is coming. I think so. A lot of things. So before we had just the bags, and then the seagulls would really have a banquet every day. So that's why the underground containers came. And what happens is that sometimes during the night, a little van comes and they empty the whole van into one container or two or three. And then they fill up from 35% to 100% in 1 hour. So that's one of the problems we have. And cameras, etc., haven't helped yet because we don't know where it will happen. So that's a bit of a stubborn problem there. But I think Benjamin was also, and maybe Andrew as well, pointing out a bit what you could do. And that is, if you report it within 24 hours, the municipality will take it away. And we know where it is, because it also is a bit of a magnet, those containers for the garbage. Yeah. There's also a second issue, and that's also quite stubborn. And that is, we are talking about migrants in the city. Koen, come on, go get me a coffee. We do have a lot of migrants, which also means we do have quite a high turnover in some areas. For instance, in Hague, there are a lot of labor migrants, and they go away the first day of the month. They call that a mattress day. Why? Then all of a sudden there are all mattresses and all a piece of furniture for those people who believe in the recycling of goods. It's also a good time to find new furniture on the streets over there. But that's another thing to do. So, and that's also, we know that's happening. So the municipality is already taking that into account. That's the first of the day. We need to go over there. There's a lot of in behavior, and there's also the positive thing about it is that we became quite good as a municipality to act on it. So if you go to meldingen.denhaag.nl, you can report it. I was just thinking we need reports.denhaag.nl as well.
Thanks,
in
Martin.
English.
Yeah, I would like to.
Nice and short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I still don't have a coffee.
But I heard you say we have gotten quite good at it. Well, I think if you look around and you would agree, you don't get the feeling that it's working. I always do. It starts with behavior, of course. And if behavior and misconduct doesn't have a consequence, then people will keep doing what they're doing. And like Martin says, the mattress day, that's a big problem. But if that would be the only problem, then we could solve it right away, because we only had to pick it up once a month. But it's a real big issue, and I think it's one of the things that we have to get addressed right away when we start in the new coalition, because people are getting sick and tired of it. We have rats, we have a lot of problems resulting from the garbage, and we have people throwing their noodles out of the window like it's nothing, and nothing is done about it. And that's the thing. And we have the fines. There's a sort of maximum fine which is addressed by the national government. If it was up to us, and we're like a law and order party, of course, we would like to start a lobby and to see if people keep doing the same offense, that the fines could be higher. Because maybe it doesn't help, because that's what Marta's going to say. Fines don't always help, but doing nothing certainly doesn't.
No, it's not that you do nothing, but just our city is not going to be much nicer if we have police everywhere giving out fines. The city will be much nicer if we start to also together in the community help in doing that, and that has to do not hallelujah. Well, that sometimes helps as well, but also to go to the communities and to tell people. I mean, you can in certain communities you can be an adopter of you are an adopter of a. So you have
trash can.
Yeah. No, but we can do a lot ourselves. You can ask all the time to have more police, but we can do things ourselves as well in our community.
Yeah, but the thing is that always the same people. There are always the same people who are attracting the work.
That.
Yeah, but
yeah.
You know how it is.
Let me ask this question that you mentioned about these 2-3 issues. Would you support? I mean, I'm asking all of you. Would you support a coalition with any of of you here?
We are in a coalition.
I mean, I'm talking about
all
were
already.
Sanjay, the last
We
8
were as
years,
well.
we've had 4 coalitions, and each of these 4 parties has been at least in one of the coalitions.
One of the coalitions.
Some in 3 and some in 4.
We were in all of them.
So that means there's no problem.
But,
Okay. So
don't go there.
The issue works. So basically,
we
we are
do
on the.
agree, don't go there.
Okay, perfect.
We had some comments from the columnists that we are too friendly as politicians.
That's
So
also
we need to be
true.
less
Really?
friendly. Yeah.
That's also true. That's also
Oh,
true.
you've been working on it.
I'm not saying why.
I have another important issue. I think we have one more participant in our audience, Margaret. She's going to ask something which is very tricky, probably.
Tricky? Really?
Hello, how are you? Welcome for coming. And there's this question because there's a talk about significant cut in budget. When money is going to be slashed, So the question is, which sector will be affected first and why? Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Margaret, for the...
Thanks a lot.
Sorry, you're the presenter.
Yes,
I'll be
I think that's important that all of us are concerned about it. So who should I start with? Who would like? Kun, shall I start with you?
It was supposed to be worse, even. So we are sort of doing all right here in the Hague. So it's not like what was the name, Ravijnjaar? Like I don't know what the English word is, but anyway, it looks like we're going to be quite okay. But the thing is that from the national government, we are getting more and more tasks and less money. So that's really not how it's working, and especially in healthcare and those areas, that is going to be a really big problem. And also, I'm going to say it again, also with police officers and things like that. We don't get enough money from the national government, but we are getting more and more tasks to work with. So we think we should lobby again to push back some of the tasks or ask for more money.
Okay, and what cut are we talking about? How much, what percent is the currently? Any idea?
No, actually I don't.
No, so we don't know yet.
No, we don't know yet.
So because I give you to give. But sorry, I'll stop it. Yeah. We do know each other apparently. No, so for instance, for youth care, each year we now have 13 million shortage. From the task we get, so it's a national law that says what needs to happen, who is eligible for that kind of care. We, as a municipality, need to execute it, and we need to pay for the money that we have short. And it used to be 28 million, and so the previous government said, woohoo, we halved your budget deficit. Well, a deficit is deficit.
Yeah.
And that's quite complicated. We have at, let's say, 60-70% of everything that we implement and that we pay for, we don't have much to say in which way do it, and that's also the reality of the small national government. I mean, we're a small nation compared to some of the countries where our fellow the Hague people come from, but we are not that strong as a local level to say, well, I know that the party of Kuna said, well, then we stop doing tasks. Yeah. And that's nice as a threat, but I know, and he knows as well, and he feels it as well. we can't do it because we are closest to the people here in this city and the neighborhood. We care about them. We're not going to let them go. So so we do the tasks, and we still find ways to solve that budget.
So in your opinion, which sector do you prioritize when the cut comes?
I think, being me as the most leftist party here, I would definitely say that we would go for people that need the most help. That we would go first. They need.
But the question was like,
I wouldn't cut their budget, so to say. I would.
Okay, you would not cut.
And in general, I think from those four parties, my party is the first. I would say we could also see if we can, the little local taxes that we have, can we raise them? Because they will come with people with wealth will pay more than people with no wealth.
Benjamin, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's very important to say, like, if we get tasks handed to us by the national government, then money should come with it. I think we're all in agreement on that. We think that we can still cut a lot of fat with the municipality, specifically when it comes to hiring external hires. Essentially, we are hiring a lot of people from these big companies, way more than we said we were going to do, and that actually costs a lot more money than just hiring people straight away. So making sure that we sort of cut the fat with the municipality first is very important. Another big important thing is making sure that we grow the local economy, so make sure that we have a strong The Hague economy. We have so many opportunities here as an international city of peace and justice, also with security, with the House of Cyber, with the Hague Security Delta, but also our proximity to the ocean. There's so many fantastic things happening, like campus at sea as well. We are located between these universities, so I think the fundamental thing is growing our local economy.
You do forget that you want to cut the social budgets as well, right? The social benefits.
Well, what we want to do is make sure that people, because we grow the local economy, people can move into a job and we can save money that way.
Yeah, but you would do it the other way around, right? Let's be honest. You would cut the social benefits first and then say, and now you need to work. I mean, there's no shame in it. But that is where
we already feel that, regardless of cuts, we already feel that everybody should contribute and that we should move people into work. I mean, that is true regardless of whether there's budget cuts or not. We want to make sure that everyone participates, does what they can, and is either in a job, studying, or moving towards a job.
Yeah. In the Netherlands, in The Hague, we have the group of people that are unemployed is much smaller than it was before.
Okay.
And the people that are in the Rolodex and getting their money.
Which time frame are we talking about? Before means how many years?
Well, I think it's now in the Bijstand. How many people are
22,000.
22,000, yeah. 22, and of that group, there's a large group of people that we can conclude about about 15,000. They will not find a job because they're handicapped or they have other kind of disabilities that will be long-term illness that it will be. They will not find.
Not likely.
No, 100% job. So. We think that we have to take care of the people in my party that deserve our help. At the same time, we can also help because we also have sources of income ourselves. And that's our local tax. That's, for instance, on housing. We are paying much less, we're charging much less on ownership of if you have a house of property than in other cities.
Oh, yes.
So there is room for, well, you can call it room for improvement, but we can raise that a little bit to also get the income. Of course, the VVD said, no, I mean, we don't want that. But we think that there is a possibility. So we can raise that. I don't know the English word, the translation for that. Yeah, the OZB?
It's the property tax.
Property tax. So we can raise the property tax. And that will help. And there are other things that we also have to think about. Of course, we have to be accurate about our bureaucracy, because every time that we think, okay, we have to cut on bureaucracy, we'll hire more people. I think, but it doesn't mean a lot on the real budget. The real budget is which we can influence if we get in more money. And that's, for instance, by raising the taxes, where we can,
Well, that's always the left-wing solution, raise the taxes and thinking of house owners as rich. They're not always rich.
No.
So it's a very easy way to do it, and I don't think that's the solution. I do think that what Benjamin is saying, our local economy, that's a way to make more money, but that's what you also said. That's a way to make more money. Tourism, that's one thing we both agree on. We should do more hotels, that's for sure. And we are really happy with the new concern, the Reborn company that was going to rebuild the pier in Scheveningen and also the Palace Promenade. That's a shopping center. And that gives us some of the grandeur, the esteem of the early days of Scheveningen, and we're really happy about that because that attracts a lot of people. In potential, we are one of the biggest tourist attractions here in Western Europe. I'd like to say.
But I think that's also very interesting. You just already mentioned about the housing issue. Right now we have a crisis for that in Den Haag, right? And if you just...
we took a very good decision in the council.
Build.
We're going to build 11,000 something more housing, and especially smaller apartments in Laakhaven. Yesterday, this council took that decision.
Okay.
And I'm very happy with that, and I'm also proud of it, is that we were able to come to that agreement to build. So last year we built only 550 new housing, but together with the council, we took that decision to build in Laakhaven, and that was so we're getting there, but it doesn't help, the 100,000 housing that we need. How much?
More than that, I think.
We want to build around 300,000-4,000.
300,000-400,000.
That's already what we try to do.
Precisely, that would be my question. That it's a kind of like just a drop in the ocean, or can we do it on a larger scale? And what timeline are you, considering?
There are a couple of things that are really hindering, and also where we need the national government to actually move. And one of them is specific for The Hague. On one side, we have a thing that's called the sea, and it's quite hard to build in the sea, and no one wants to build in the sea. Well, maybe the pier. You guys want to build the pier. Okay, that's what you guys will do. That's okay. And the other side, there are other municipalities. So we have 8 meadows left in the whole of The Hague. So we need to go up. That's what we've done in the Binkhorst. That's what we're going to do in the Laakhavens. And that's what we can do if we look at the scarcity of space that we have. The second part is quite Dutch. And that's we have too much nitrogen. That's because we have so much cattle.
Too much regulations. That's the thing.
Well, I would say we would have too many cattle. We have more pigs than people in the Netherlands, and we don't eat them all. They go to Parma, they get slaughtered there, and then get a stamp because they were slaughtered in Parma as Parma ham, and then they come back. I mean, just the logistics of that is already ridiculous.
The Hague is full of pigs.
That depends on where you stand. I wouldn't say that. That's what.
But if I can ask,
but I mean that's where we have a problem to get the license to build houses, because for building a house you will pollute.
The problem about it, but people, those who are suffering from it, they would like to know what could be a possible, feasible solution. So, do we have some thoughts on it?
Going up, but we all agree on that.
In some places there's like some areas where you can definitely go up quite a lot higher. There's places where you can add like an additional story to an existing building. We want to build 20,000 additional houses in the next period. So it's like we want to make sure that we also have neighborhoods that are nice to live in. I think that's another part that is very important, that there's enough green spaces. So don't just build houses just to get the number up. Also make sure that the people living there have the amenities, that they can find their huisarts, like you discussed earlier, that they have enough green spaces, that they have a daycare in the area.
Park their cars.
Being able to park your car is also very important for a lot of people. So, and the thing we can actually do also is not trying to make things extra difficult on top of all the difficulties we already have, in part because of national problems, but also we should make sure that we don't add anything on top of that on the local level, making things even more difficult to be built. So like just get things done, essentially.
Okay, cool.
Well, I totally agree, actually. So the thing with the plan from yesterday, we agreed as a council with the 11,000 housing, but there is sort of a way out if it looks like all the other things like enough green parking spaces and sport facilities. That has to be in order as well before we start building. So it's not only about the 11,000 flats. We have to make sure that it's done in a nice way.
Okay, there is another element to it, which is affordability.
Yeah.
Given what people are feeling, the crunch behind it, can you say that all these housings would be, or the projects would be affordable to ordinary people? Do they have to wait for a couple of years before they can really?
If we're talking about this project, then it's going to be affordable, but that's mainly because they're really small.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's not the way we really would like to have that, because we only say we all agree about national rental, affordable rental houses, but there's also a thing as affordable ownership. Like building houses that are affordable for people, and they should make sure that the whole area is lifted up and the standards go up.
But I think there's a difference in the politics and also between the four of us. How many, if you take 100 houses, how many of them do you want to be affordable?
Precisely, yeah.
How many do you want them indeed to be both? How many do you want to be for rent?
Yeah.
So as GroenLinks PvdA, we would say you need a high percentage of affordable rental houses, which are indeed the corporation structures. I think that was what Koen was pointing out to. And I think for the VVD is, I think on the other end, saying we need to have enough houses for people with money.
I would like to have your...
We have a 30%, you know.
That's what we have now.
Yeah, but we barely ever make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to qualify this a little bit for keeping internationals in mind. The general perception, and you can correct me right or wrong, is that these internationals actually add this salary or income premium and making the housing actually more expensive. To what extent do you think? Just very short answer is true, and if not, why do we people have this perception?
Some areas that's true.
Some areas,
like in the Statenkwartier, for instance, I think that's what's the case. The rents go up really high because they know they will rent it out.
Yeah.
So I think on that specific area, I think that's correct. I can't speak for other areas, but I think they're mainly located in those areas, Benoordenhout and Statenkwartier. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, largely agree, and also but it's important to realize that not all internationals fall under these rules that would even have this sort of influence. So I think that's also important to keep in mind that not all internationals are, for instance, the traditional expats.
Yeah.
True.
Andrew?
Totally agree. No, but I mean but it's funny, because we were also talking about spending more money in the international zone to have more
congresses and
conferences and congresses, but also have more employment. Yesterday we agreed to buy this big complex of former insurance company. Where the House of Cyber will be built and all the other things. And at the same time, we're thinking, okay, other parties say, but maybe we also need it for housing. We say, but we also need to work here. We need, spaces for people to work. Then we can organize that because we allow more international companies to come here. They all want to come here. We're the second UN city in the world. I can tell you, because of the Trump administration, there are also UN organizations now based in New York. I think maybe it's not a bad idea to move to The Hague, but The Hague is already quite full, so we have to organize it.
Yeah.
Well, we have to organize it. Yeah. At the same time, we had 600,000 people living in The Hague 50, 60 years ago, and then it's when Zoetermeer started. Okay. So we always think that we have to bring every solution in our own city, but we are surrounded by a lot of other. So we have to work much more together. Former American president or ambassador said, "God created Earth, but the Netherlands created the Dutch created the Netherlands."
Yeah.
And we are able, with our engineers, to build even in the sea. Of course, we need to have enough nice nature around us. Of course, we need it. But I'm sure we can.
I would like to add
we
here,
can
just let me
think
please,
more. Yeah, we will handle it.
So there is another aspect which is also critical here is the asylum seekers and the distribution of the locations. So when I think recently we had a
subject.
Always. Recently there was a demonstration,
we will agree
right?
on,
And people, complaining that why only our neighborhood, why just here? So that's one concern. And the secondly, is it a kind of like a failure in terms of communication? Because it has to be somewhere. How do you really settle that?
Well, there's a couple of things. Like, first of all, this is again something that you cannot solve all the problems in The Hague. Mm-hmm. We are quite limited in space, so we also feel that, like, if the national government gives us this task, you give us the opportunity to handle it well. And also, you, the national government, own a lot of buildings here. Maybe you should contribute some building space so that we can actually house these people. Now, for us, it's very important that we do this with the neighborhood. We actually had a proposal for this, which was adopted, and it's sort of this idea that instead of just sort of throwing this into a neighborhood like, oh, this is going to happen, make sure that you take people step by step, like, okay, this is something that we have to do from the national government, this is the way we're trying to do this, what concerns do you have, to sort of really making sure that it's that there's like this sense of that the neighborhood actually has a say in how this is handled, and making sure that we don't have like these really big locations, but trying also to prioritize like smaller that are more manageable for a neighborhood to absorb.
Kun, what do you think?
Well, these are all national parties, and the local departments of the national party. We are local only, so we only our main concern and only concern is The Hague. Mm-hmm. And what we are saying is, and not only The Hague, but also Rotterdam and Amsterdam and Utrecht, don't put more asylum seekers in our community, because we are already the dense population in Western Europe, I think, most dense population in Western Europe. So don't add people who have all kinds of care, because they're not numbers. It's not like 2,000 asylum seekers, but they're people who need housing, education, care. Where are we going to get that? Because we are already too full.
Sorry, I would just seek one quick clarification. Is it true only about Den Haag, or Amsterdam and Rotterdam have the same kind of number of asylum seekers?
The previous national government, made a law that tried to spread the asylum seekers over all municipalities, and tried to do that in a certain ratio. And already the amount of people you had was a quite important factor. Thank you. Factor for that. So I don't agree with Koen. The number of asylum seekers that we are here is also much less than all the other types of internationals we've so much as plus until now have discussed. I mean, we have almost 50,000 labor migrants here. We have a lot more internationals here. We have second generation, and then we have 1,000, 2,000 each year.
Do you agree, Andrew, that it's all
and then for
properly distributed in the major cities?
Yeah, that will be ideal. But I mean, it's not true that all the cities in our country, all the communities in our country, are taking their responsibility. But I think but I think that The Hague should have. We have the law. We should abide the law. We have an agreement on a national level, so we should do it.
And it's also a national city of peace and justice, as we call ourselves.
Yeah.
That if people are fleeing from the horrible things that are going on in Sudan, Syria, in the 90s, in Yugoslavia, that you also should do your part.
We should absolutely do our part.
That's what happens a lot. Because not every asylum seeker is a refugee.
No.
Let's put it like that, because that's a main concern.
If they don't have a right to be an asylum seeker here, then
they should be.
We all would agree that the process needs to go faster for that. Then they won't have.
When they're judged, then they're welcome
here. A state here.
When they're judged by the IND, then they're more than welcome here, because they're already.
All right, but that's the 1,000 we speak over. That's the job we have, and then we have the asylum seekers.
The extras.
Because Ter Apel is now the only center where people are coming into, where in the past we had multiple centers, but right-wing governments decided in all their wisdom to cut that as a budget cut. And now people are sleeping on the streets in the Netherlands. We are one of the most prosperous nations in the world. We should do our thing.
Can I say something?
I worked in Nigeria. You can say I worked in Nigeria during the Boko Haram revolt. 2.2 million refugees.
Yeah.
1.9
And you're saying
million.
they're all welcome here.
1.9 million were
2.2.
in Nigeria. The other went to countries as Mali, Chad, and Cameroon. I don't know what you know about Mali and Chad and Niger. They are the most poor countries on the world by all indexes. And even they could have a couple of 100,000 people. We are much richer. We could do that as well. The amounts we have now are greatly exaggerated, and they do come back to the question of Roberta. Why is there so much fear or anger against foreigners? That's also because the right-wing parties are really villainizing asylum seekers, and I think that's really...
I think you made your point, right.
That's true.
But first of all, I'm not right-wing. We are local, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say,
Yeah.
and what I started out with saying, is that we have the interest of The Hague at heart, and only that.
Yeah.
So that means, is this good for The Hague? No, it's not. So what we're saying, we have to abide the law, of course. Don't forget, don't get me wrong. But we are saying, come to the national government and say, we cannot handle even more people. That's what we are saying, and nothing more like that. So we were not being xenophobic or whatever, but we are responsible for the well-being of the city.
Let me rephrase it. When you say that, do you think it's a problem with the narrative that is somehow there, or the reality is that there is no tussle between the natives and non-natives, or Dutch and non-Dutch? Would you say like that?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's just like a perception that, that the foreigners are the problem, or, asylum seekers are the problem. Is it really that black and white?
No, but you can see what's happening in the Hague. We have in Amsterdam. You see a lot of problems are there. People who say they're all criminals and keep them out of the city.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. But I also don't agree with the fact that everybody is nice and everybody's cool and everybody's welcome. Because of course there's like 12% of the people who are giving a lot of trouble with even crimes and everything. So don't close your eyes for that. That's what I'm saying.
No. Benjamin, what do you think?
I think a lot of things is also because, of course, it's going to inspire a lot of resentment if people feel that suddenly the municipality decides that in their neighborhood, like, okay, this is something we're going to do. These are the numbers. There's nothing to be changed. I think that actually going about it that way sort of destroys any sort of feeling of the neighborhood that they had a voice, that they have been sort of invited to participate in the process. And I think that actually inspires a lot of the sort of the resentment for a lot of people. So I think like if you do things, you make sure that people are like okay with it, and you put like the proper safety requirements in place and everything. I think a lot of people would be willing to say like, okay, sure, we can have like a small location here. The real important thing is make sure you do it with people.
Thank you so much. I actually have so many questions and I don't know how to squeeze them on. So just a few things that you can touch very briefly so that our viewers can benefit from. This time, as I mentioned, that the turnout for the internationals in the elections has been kind of like I guess dismal. Is it important that they participate in the elections?
I think it's important that everyone participates in elections because this is the most sort of close-by election that you have, because this decides like what goes on in your neighborhood, what goes on in your city. So yeah, absolutely, you should vote.
Okay, if we have this premise, then I would like to ask you, in case if it fails, then resignation? Just to be honest, which policy? Yeah.
In the first hour, I think it was Gordon here who was explaining about the fact that we are really a multi-party democracy, and Max was proud of that. I'm proud of that as well. Which also means that, yes, we do debate as we do now, but that also we do understand the art of compromise. So Hart voor Den Haag now has 12 seats. That's indeed a quarter, as Gordon was saying. So you need another 12 seats to have that ruling governing. So we're not that black and white if it comes to failure or success. Okay. It can be that you need to pause something that you really want for 4 years and then you wait for the next coalition.
Agreed.
I do see the resilience of this type of government compared to the more district-based systems that we have in the United Kingdom and in the United States.
Yeah, let me redesign the question again.
Okay.
What is that one policy that you secretly believe it's not going to work?
Well, you guys start.
Most of the policies that he would say. But I'm not so secret about it.
Yeah.
Now, I was. Let me go back to the point you just made, because I'd like to make clear, because otherwise I sound really right wing, and I don't want to sound right wing if it's not possible. Everybody in The Hague is, for us, is equal. So everybody who lives in The Hague is just as important. So let me state that first of all. And as it comes to policies that are not working, then I'm afraid a lot of their policies are not working, because they've shown it like the last 8 years. So that's what's happening. So I don't want to be cynical, absolutely not, but I do feel we need a change of government right away.
Okay, Benjamin.
Yeah, I think for us, one of the most important things is doing what works for the city, making sure we build...
Cheers.
Oh, that didn't work.
Make sure we build 20,000 new houses, making sure that those neighborhoods are nice to live in, so that the streets are well maintained, that your trash gets collected, and that you can really feel at home in The Hague. I think that's fundamentally the most important thing.
Martin?
I have a personal desire, as long as I've been there, and that is to clean the air in The Hague. That also means that you need to do something about traffic. And the second one is I have 2 sons. They use the bike a lot, as proper Dutchmen, although they're half Flemish. And our traffic needs to become safer for children on their bikes, big time. And that also means that we should really consider to have more streets where the maximum speed would be 30 kilometers per hour. I mean, that's quite personal, next to all the things that I would do to redesign the public space for women, make sure every child counts, and that we have enough buildings, houses.
I've been working with the international community for decades, and I've always tried to get the involvement of internationals. And I think then the involvement is not enough. You should be more involved, because you live here and you can compare.
A lot of people don't even know that they can vote.
No, but it's not only about the voting, because that's the ultimate democracy. But it's also about getting involved with our community. We're very open, and we are very ready to learn also from your experience here, and to also learn from what you bring to us. So if you talk with us, I would love to have these kind of panel discussions every half year with the local politicians, because it helps us.
Yeah, sorry, I have to
improve our city.
Keep the time.
That's my dream.
Thanks a lot. I would like to thank you, all of you, for sparing time. And
welcome.
Of course, as you have just seen, that actually local politics is not that local. And it's neither that small. Discussions continue, but it's very important, because the policies and this debate shapes our policy. One thing that I would like to once reiterate, that on the 18th of March, please go and vote, because we need to know, it's not like who is in power, but what kind of capital we want to see Den Haag to be. Once again, thanks to all of you. And we will be back again with another thought-provoking session the next month. Until then, take very good care of yourself and your loved ones. Once again, please vote here on behalf of our RTV Discuss team. Lovely day ahead. Bye for now.